Hello and welcome everybody. My name is Ryan, the official host here at Reddit Voice, and today we're going to once again be looking at some of the top stories from r/Prorevenge. Before we do though, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell to stay up to date on all the latest videos. I help a local screen printing shop earn the reputation it deserves. Story happened a few years ago in 2015. Never really thought of posting it here until now, but I suppose it fits. It turned out to be a long story, and the setup takes way longer than the actual revenge, so there's a TLDR at the bottom. There's also a little bit of harsh language in there. The setup. I was a screen printer, and I accepted a new job at a different shop for $13 an hour. Slightly better wage than my old job, and the place was much nicer. Let's just call it Waldron Sports Center / Apparel. They operate out of a large space in a local mall, featuring a sports / joke apparel shop, multi-purpose gym, and a single automatic press in the back where they printed their stuff. Two brothers, let's call them Jake and Jarrett, own the company. Jake does most of the on-site management, as Jarrett's more busy with other career. They are running a squeaky clean M&R Diamondback press, and the shop's super well organized. It's very climate controlled, whereas my previous place was just a plain warehouse with no heat / AC whatsoever, and that would often surpass 100 degrees. Schedule is perfect, and paychecks are direct deposited every Friday too. Another huge plus. Obviously, I'm excited. First 2 weeks go fantastic. That second Friday, I get my first check. It seems short, but I started mid-pay period, and on sporadic hours, so whatever. 1 week later, and my next check is significantly larger, but it's off. I go to Jake and ask him about seeing my pay stubs. He tells me that all of that is handled through an outside company, but Jarrett should have gotten my login info by then. He'll be back on Monday. I asked the other printers there if that was a normal thing with the pay stubs, and they said not really, and vouched for the two, saying they probably just forgot. First thing Monday, I go to Jarrett and ask about the pay stubs, who tells me that it's actually Jake's responsibility to make sure I get the info I need. Okay, WTF. So I go back to him and ask him about it, and he says that he'll call the company and get my login info ASAP. Suspicious, but not having much other option, as I was already almost a month removed from my old job, I go to work, and a little while later he comes in and gives me the login info. We finish the job and take a quick break. I log in and check my pay stubs, and it turns out these guys are paying me $8.10 an hour instead of the $13 I was promised. Oh man, I'm livid. Obviously, I gotta confront Jake about this. Never been through this before, but I'm pretty sure I know what was going on here. I quickly Google conversation recording law, see Ohio is a one-party consent state, meaning if I'm part of a conversation, I record it as both legal and admissible in court. So I set my phone to do just that, and put it in my pocket and go to confront him. Hey, so I checked my pay stub and you're only paying me $8.10 an hour. Would you like to tell me what's going on here? He looks kind of dumbfounded and shakes his head. It's supposed to be $13 an hour. Well, you've been paying me $8.10 an hour and you owe me over $400. Well, that's not supposed to happen. I'll call him and see what's up. So I go back to the shop, stop the recording, and start settling the next job to pass the time. I'm holding out hope that this is all a misunderstanding, but I'm pretty sure it's not. Regardless, I gotta at least play ball while I follow through. Jake comes in and says, we'll have your money fixed on your next paycheck. With back pay? Yes, it'll be on the check. So I begrudgingly wait for the next week. I wake up Friday morning and check my bank account, and much to my not surprise at this point, another minimum wage check and another few $100s they owe me. So I decided to stay home that day. I got a text 15 minutes after the time I'm supposed to be there. Hey, this is Jake, what's going on? You sent me another minimum wage check. You owe me $700. I'm not coming in until you pay me the money that you owe me. Well, I was gonna write a check for the difference, but I accept your no-call, no-show. Thanks. That's not how this works, dude. You still owe me $700, and now I have this text from you admitting it. No more responses. So I do as any millennial would and leave a negative review on their page and start commenting on every single post they have, which gets deleted immediately. I get a text from Jake. You'll be hearing from my lawyer. Is your mother's address still correct? I never told them any personal details about my family or living situation, and this mother effer wants to assume while literally stealing what would be rent money. Cool, call them. They better have my check ready. The revenge. I had the dude cold. I basically have concrete admission of guilt from text and audio evidence. Now I just gotta figure out what to do. I send a message to a troubleshooter reporter who made his career exposing these exact kind of scams. And he tells me that without signing an employment contract, I'm pretty well screwed, and that maybe I can try small claims court, but that probably wouldn't work out, and apologized for being unable to help. I looked both Jarrett and Jake Walden up in the local court of clerk websites, and just out of curiosity. It turns out Jake had been sued multiple times for this exact thing and lost twice. And then it hits me. I'm a band and have paid Facebook to promote posts advertising my concerts before. It's cheap and generally gets some results. At the time, at least. I created a Craigslist post detailing this exact story and included links to him and his company court records as the centerpiece. I make a page on Facebook as a former employee and make one single post. Avoid Waldron Sports Center / apparel. Dishonest employer. I then sponsored the post, and I put $15 over the course of 10 days for ads. I then targeted them directly to people who liked their page, any of our local sports team screen printing or the mall itself, who lived specifically within a few miles of their shop. Within a couple days, the post had been shared 2,000 times. I got a message from him 4 days later begging me to take it down and to check for every missing penny 2 days later. I went to the bank to cash it and told the two cashiers at the counter the story. We shared a laugh because both of them had seen the post that morning. I sent him a message saying, "I got the money. Next time, don't try to scam somebody who's much smarter than you." And that felt good. I continued to share my story anytime it was relevant to a public post. I guess he saw one a few months later and messaged me again and said, "We already gave you the money, please stop." I told him, "I gave you so many opportunities to do the right thing, and you still went out of your way to be a piece of shit. This shouldn't have been done that way. Go F yourself." And that felt even better. TLDR, screen printing shop skims hundreds of dollars off of my paychecks. I sponsor an online ad against them directly and their specific clientele that ends up going viral locally. I have my money 6 days later. Teacher verbally abused suicidal classmate, and now everyone knows. This was back in the day, when I was 17, and I'm currently 20. I was in a class for forensics, and this teacher was notorious for making fun of students. I'll call her Bitch Teacher. To put in perspective how much I hate her, I got a pet cockroach and named it after her. In this class, she would have students take attendance by lining up and answering a question at her desk before going to sit down. This is important for later. It started with things such as making fun of students who weren't in class to hear, poking fun at how they looked, their grades, their clothes, etc. Things slowly escalated as the year progressed to where she would mock my voice in front of everyone whenever I spoke. I also have a very growly voice because I used to get recurring scarlet fever for years, which permanently damaged my vocal cords. Said transgender people were a burden, and we had a trans boy in the class, that depression wasn't real, etc. At first it was fine. It's not like she was saying anything anyone hadn't heard from their shitty classmates about each other. But then comes my classmate, who I'll call Small, because she's small. Small was quiet and a very sweet girl. She was funny and always nice to everyone, but she had really bad depression and anorexia, and she would be bullied a lot because her parents weren't the best. She often came to class smelling of her dad's chain smoking and an old hand-me-down clothes. Because Bitch Teacher would only encourage the bullying, Small eventually started cutting and wearing hoodies all the time to hide the cuts. But everyone knew it, and it got to the point where two people would take advantage of her poor family and pay her to scratch words onto her leg or arm in class with a safety pin. Bitch Teacher did F all, and trust me, she knew. Fast forward a few weeks, and we all line up as usual, and the question was, "What's your favorite type of music?" Me and Small come up, and I answer that I'm heading to my seat, and Small quietly goes, "I don't know, I don't really have one." To which, and I kid you the F not, Bitch Teacher goes full volume with a smile on her face, "Well, what kind of music doesn't make you want to slit your wrists?" At this point, the entire class goes dead silent. She had gone too far, and Small immediately runs out of the class. Everyone is too shocked to know what to really do, so we just move on with class. I still wish I had gone to check on her. After that, I just couldn't stand Bitch Teacher. I couldn't stand her existence. I couldn't stand looking at her, smiling effing face. I wanted to rip that smile off. Every time she breathed, I wanted to strangle her, and I was done with this. I began secretly recording every time she made fun of us. I would record entire classes and crop out what I needed, and then, one tiring month later, I emailed them all straight to the principal. Close to half an hour of this bitch making fun of everyone, making suicide jokes, etc. I fumed about how inappropriate and unacceptable this was, and I demanded justice. And holy shit, justice I got. Bitch teacher didn't show up for a few days, and when she finally came back, she had such a dead look in her eyes. Finally, no more of that smile. The principal calls us all together, and in front of everyone, her husband, the students, and staff, she was forced to formally apologize for making fun of a suicidal 16-year-old. The look on her husband's face told me all I wanted. After this, I only ever needed to see her smoking alone and hated at the liquor store. The smile never came back. I never told anyone what I did, but everyone just knew, and a sense of overwhelming relief was very much welcomed in the class. Small started going to therapy, and we became pretty good friends. She got the help she needed, and she moved out of her family's home with her sister and developed a healthier coping mechanism. Suicide is not a joke, and anyone who makes fun of someone even remotely entertaining the idea of suicide, this is what you deserve. To lose your job, lose your friends, lose your reputation, lose your husband, and a kid to name a effing cockroach after you. And to those of you in MS or HS dealing with bullying, a bad home life, or mental health problems, you can do this. Edit. I don't know, some of y'all can't read, I guess. She was fired. Lose your job. And to clarify on her husband, no, he wasn't called in from home. He was the algebra school teacher. And with that, my friends, we've concluded today's episode of r/Prorevenge. If you liked it, make sure to leave a like on the video and also subscribe. As always, my name is Ryan, the official host here at Reddit Voice, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video.